there's a lot going on. Like, I don't know if you guys know this, but there's literally a floating island of garbage in the middle of the ocean right now. Yeah. I think it's called Puerto Rico.
Who is that jackwad? Who is that guy?
Actually, I think that's Tony Hinchcliffe, which is super disappointing.
Well, nobody wanted to talk about Donald Trump or J.D. Vance's speeches yesterday at the rally. Nobody wanted to talk about Elon Musk. Nobody wanted to talk about Tucker Carlson. Nobody wanted to talk about Tulsi Gabbard or RFK Jr. or the other big names that were all there speaking on behalf of the Trump campaign. No, all they wanted to do was talk about a comedian, Kill Tony. Perhaps you saw some of his stand-up to sort of warm up the crowd and get people in a good mood and excited for the rally. He was there for a few minutes, but it was enough. It was enough to distract the media and distract, well, everybody who wanted to talk about him and his jokes instead of the actual proceedings from the president on down. Here's a little bit of Kill Tony stand-up.
I don't know about you guys, but I think that Travis Kelce might be the next O.J. Simpson. Feels good in here. The other side's got a lot of crazy endorsements. Swift, Eminem, Leo DiCaprio, Beyonce. Every day the Democratic Party looks more and more like a P. Diddy party. Oh, okay. Okay, that's what you guys want. All right, heck yeah. It's a cool black guy with a thing on his head. What the hell is that, a lampshade? Look at this guy. Oh my goodness. Wow. I'm just kidding. That's one of my buddies. He had a Halloween party last night. We had fun. We carved watermelons together. It was awesome. You guys are, this is a groany little morning crowd, huh? It's tough to follow this audition for the next Commissioner Gordon's over here.
All right. So for those of you who don't know, Kill Tony is a comedian and he's got a major social media presence. And he is funny, but he's also irreverent. In fact, he's politically incorrect. In fact, he's the kind of comedian that the left loves to cancel and ruin their lives. Just like you in your workplace, if you say a joke at the coffee machine that Mabel over there in HR doesn't approve of, your life is over. And the reason he was there, first of all, because he's very popular with a younger group of voters, especially young men, but also it sends a message. The cancel culture is done. We should be able to laugh at ourselves again and laugh at each other. We're a healthier, happier people when we can. And even if you don't like the jokes, in fact, even if you're offended, okay, be offended. You have the right. I celebrate your right to be offended. But you can't shut people up. You can't ruin their lives. You can't destroy them, and you certainly can't censor them. That's why he was there. And everybody who's saying, oh, my God, I can't believe Trump decided that. First of all, I don't know if Trump made the decision, but I'm glad Team Trump did this. I'm glad, frankly, everybody's talking about the comedian and what he said. Yeah, you're going to see more of what the comedian said, and we'll definitely show you the joke that everyone's going nutso about. But as usual, there's always different lessons to be learned here that goes well beyond just a guy telling jokes that are a little politically incorrect. The lesson is that we want to go back to having a country where we can have comedians tell jokes that are politically incorrect. In fact, as we've chronicled here over the last year on this show, on this channel, there is a growing underground stand-up comedy movement where comedians are once again able to be funny again, even if it means they're offending people. And we love that. We want that. That's okay. In fact, forgive me, but as a white, straight, male, conservative Christian, I have just spent the last 20 years of my life being the butt of every joke, on every sitcom, in every movie, on every Saturday Night Live sketch, in every stand-up routine, on the late night comedy shows. And I'm sorry, it's about time everybody else gets to be laughed at too. Not because I'm angry, not because I'm hurt, not because I'm offended, but because we should all be able to laugh at each other. When we're all laughing at each other and with each other, then we're not screaming at each other. So let's get back to a little more Kill Tony and let's have some fun again, right? Let's make comedy funny again.
It is, though. It's crazy times we're living in. I mean, all these pointless wars. It is unbelievable what's happening right now. It is incredible. Ukraine versus Russia, Israel, it's like bad soccer games. Who even cares? What are we doing? Why is our money involved in these wars? When it comes to Israel and Palestine, we're all thinking the same thing. Settle your stuff already. Best out of 3. Rock, paper, scissors. You know the Palestinians are going to throw rock every time. But you also know the Jews have a hard time throwing that paper. You know what I'm saying? All right, we're having fun now. We're cooking. Hillary Clinton said that this is a Nazi rally here today. Can you believe that? For the most anti-war president of my entire lifetime, and she calls him Hitler. Let me remind you, Hillary, it was your husband who shot innocent people, or as he called them, interns. Yeah, Hillary, I bet you did not see that one coming. By the way, if I commit suicide in 3 weeks, I didn't. I mean, it's just obvious to me who the right candidate is. There's a guy out here dodging bullets. It is unbelievable, right?
All right. So that's a little bit of Kill Tony. And I'm sure for those of you who didn't see the routine, you're probably just like, what's everyone upset about? What's the big deal? What? Because everyone's screaming about Kill Tony's jokes. Well, it's this joke. This is the one. This is the one that got everybody upset. And apparently it is the worst thing that you can possibly say ever in the history of mankind. Let's get to it.
A lot going on. Like, I don't know if you guys know this, but there's literally a floating island of garbage in the middle of the ocean right now. Yeah. I think it's called Puerto Rico. Okay. All right. Okay. We're getting there. Again, normally I don't follow the national anthem, everybody. This isn't exactly a perfect comedy setup. There's some people here. All right. Very good. I like it. I have other policies that I think it should be implemented as well.
All right. So there you go. The Puerto Rico joke, the floating garbage Puerto Rico joke, which, by the way, it should be noted that the joke bombed. It failed. All right. It's not like everybody thought that was the funniest thing. In fact, most people are like, oh, come on, dude, what the hell? Stop. But that's Kill Tony. See, this is the funny thing about Kill Tony. Even when his joke bombs, it's kind of a cringy, awkward moment, and he makes the most of it, which is what you just saw. And so was it appropriate? Was it inappropriate? Should it not have been there? Has it become a distraction for Donald Trump that was unnecessary? No, all of the above is wrong, because the whole point here is to point out the fascist, authoritarian, totalitarian instinct of the left to censor people and silence people. There are some things you shouldn't say. Really? Do tell. What? I mean, is it wrong for me to believe, based on what the First Amendment is supposed to stand for, is it wrong for me to believe that as long as it isn't illegal, you should be able to say whatever the hell you want? You should be able to joke about whatever the hell you want? And anybody who thinks otherwise, you're really in favor of censorship. Call it whatever you want, whether it's content moderation, whether it's standards and practices, whether it's, whatever. That's censorship. It's censorship. You can be offensive. Go ahead. I don't have to listen to you, nor will I. Or I'll boo you if I'm 20,000 strong and you're on stage trying to tell a joke. You see, that's a conservative principle. It's a principle of liberty and freedom and personal responsibility, something the left doesn't quite understand. I'll prove it to you. Really weird thing happened yesterday while this was going on over on Twitch. A Gen Z woman along with her very butch lesbian grandmother, decided to do a live stream while they watched the rally. And for some reason, it's gone viral. Here they are. There's the Gen Z woman and her very butch lesbian grandmother. So anyway, they were doing this Twitch thing. Sorry, what? Oh, seriously? I am so sorry. I honestly, I should do more show prep. That is not some Gen Z woman and her very butch lesbian grandmother. That's Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, Congresswoman from New York. And apparently that's Tim Walz, a man, right? Yeah, a man, the governor of Minnesota, and apparently Kamala Harris is running mate. Okay, well, that, I guess, puts this in a different perspective. Anyway, they were doing this Twitch stream that got something like 10,000 views, which is not great. Oh, less than 10,000, 7,000 views. Not great. They played Madden NFL football. They played Madden on a Sunday to attract young male voters who apparently they think on NFL Sunday are watching these two play a video game of NFL football instead of actually watching NFL football. I don't know why they're losing the young male vote over there at the Kamala Harris camp, because this is brilliant. If you're a young man and you love NFL football, you're not watching NFL football on Sunday. You're watching these two play Madden on Twitch. All right, let's see their reaction to the Kill Tony stand-up.
There's a lot going on. Like, I don't know if you guys know this, but there's literally a floating island of garbage in the middle of the ocean right now. Yeah. I think it's called Puerto Rico. Okay. All right. Okay. We're getting there. No.
Who is that jackwad? Who is that guy?
Actually, I think that's Tony Hinchcliffe, which is super disappointing. I mean, I don't. He's a comedian. I don't follow
this
crew
issue
very
with Puerto
closely,
Rico
but
again. I saw it. This was when he went down after Helene, the horrific hurricane. People there, everybody coming together. We sent helicopters down from Minnesota and personnel. You know, this is how you do this during this. And in the first hours, Trump complaining about the response. Does anybody remember how he responded to Maria in Puerto Rico? It was absolutely horrific. Down there insulting people, throwing it. Look, I know that the folks who are on here today understand this. People in Puerto Rico are citizens. They pay taxes and they serve in the military at almost a higher rate than anybody else.
yeah, I mean, it's like super upsetting. Obviously, it's super upsetting to me. My family is from Puerto Rico. I'm Puerto Rican, and like the thing that is so messed up that I wish more people understood is that the things that they do in Puerto Rico are a testing ground for the policies and the horrors that they wish to and that they do unveil in working class communities across the United States.
This is just painful. We got to stop it there. But imagine the people who tuned into this. Tony, for his part, took to social media and decided to respond to the critics. Here he is, specifically responding to Mustache Face there and lesbian Tim Walz. And Tony Hinchcliffe says, these people have no sense of humor. Wild that a vice presidential candidate would take time out of his busy schedule to analyze a joke, take it out of context to make it seem racist. I love Puerto Rico and vacation there. I make fun of everyone, which is true. We just watched pretty much all of the set. He did make fun of everyone. I'm a comedian, Tim. Might be time to change your tampon. That's a good excuse. I shouldn't say excuse, but it's a good defense for your jokes. Listen, I make fun of everyone. That's what I do. I happen to make a joke about Puerto Rico, and I'm in New York, by the way. People in Puerto Rico make jokes about Puerto Rico. That's a thing, and it is, by the way. And so part of a good defense that Kill Tony has put up there is, come on, guys, I'm an equal opportunity offender. You're not outraged that I made jokes about Jewish people, that I made jokes about Palestinian people, that I made jokes about black people, that I made, right? That you ignore, but the Puerto Rican thing. All right, so that's a good excuse. You know what else is a good excuse? If somebody's like coming down on Kill Tony because of his joke, and they're like, yo, you can't make that joke about Puerto Rico. A really good excuse is really, because it's actually true. Because there's a lot of reports from a lot of media outlets like CNN that did a story about the wall of garbage in Puerto Rico, raising health concerns. Puerto Rico's landfills were already beyond capacity, and now Hurricane Maria cleanup is part of the problem. Or for that matter, the Weather Channel, AccuWeather, an island littered with trash, how Maria highlighted Puerto Rico's poor waste management. In fact, if you really do love Puerto Rico, you'd probably like this problem taken care of. Now, here's Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, who's thumping on her chest and feeling all this horrible pain and suffering because a joke was made about Puerto Rico. I'm from Puerto Rico. I have family in Puerto Rico. Okay, well, if you're Puerto Rican descent and you're a congresswoman, what have you done about the garbage problem in your island? What have you actually done? She's done nothing except wear her Puerto Rican ethnicity like it's some sort of shield against any kind of criticism. So the fact is, Tony's jokes, as inappropriate as you may think they were, which I don't care because inappropriate jokes are still jokes, they were actually rooted in truth. They were rooted in facts. And by the way, if you're not Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez with all that makeup on, apparently to cover up a growing mustache problem, if you're just a regular from the neighborhood Puerto Rican who was at the event, you may have actually liked the joke, like these two Puerto Rican women who were at Madison Square Garden for the offensive joke.
We like jokes. We like jokes.
We do. We understand the importance of a comedian having the freedom to push the envelope, because that's always been what has separated comedians from like everyday folks, right? Mm-hmm. Where they can push the envelope to either make you laugh or make you think or challenge you, right?
Pero, because obviously we're such proud Puerto Ricans, I will say that it is not a little floating pile of trash. This beautiful island filled with beautiful people that love the beautiful islands, and it's okay to have different opinions. That's what makes America great, that people could just have different opinions. So you know what? We're not offended. Did we like the joke?
No,
I didn't like the joke.
I didn't like
I
the
don't
joke.
even think the crowd that he bombed that joke.
Yeah.
I thought it was funny. Don't get me wrong.
I think the joke in New York City maybe was not like in the right landing.
Probably right. Probably not the right landing.
I love those two, and they're absolutely right. And by the way, I mean, if I may, this last Tony Award, I used to work in the theater business, and at the Tony Awards where they celebrate Broadway, they just did a lifetime, or they honored the passing of one of the greatest, most genius composers and lyricists of the 20th and 21st century, Stephen Sondheim, who passed away this year. And he's a genius, I mean, absolutely greatest. His very first Broadway musical, he wrote the lyrics to a musical I'm sure you've heard of called West Side Story. And, the song America, right? Where Puerto Rican students, as Puerto Rican kids in the 50s sing about America. And one group of the kids hate America and they want to go back to Puerto Rico. And the other group, they love America and they don't want to go back to Puerto Rico. The lyrics to that song from the 50s in West Side Story, a landmark musical that is done in high schools all across the country where they just honored Stephen Sondheim. The lyrics are, Puerto Rico, you ugly island, island of tropic diseases, always the hurricanes blowing, always the population growing, and the money owing. I like the island Manhattan, smoke on your pipe and put that in. I know those lyrics. That's what I do. So it's okay to make fun of Puerto Rico if you're Stephen Sondheim and you're writing an award-winning musical. It's also perfectly okay and acceptable and actually laudable to make fun of any ethnic group, including Latinos, if you're doing it at a Kamala Harris rally instead of a Donald Trump rally. Like this homeless man who wandered onto the stage for a rally in Arizona for Kamala Harris. I'm so sorry, what? I'm making a lot of mistakes today. Is that really? I'm sorry. That is not a homeless man. That's comedian and actor George Lopez. Are you sure he's not also a homeless man? I mean, we haven't seen a lot from George Lopez in the last several years. He could very well be a homeless man as well. George Lopez, who may or may not be living on the streets at a Kamala Harris rally.
Donald Trump said he was going to build a wall. And George Lopez said, you better build it in one day, because if you leave that material out there overnight.
You see, because Mexican steel building materials when they're left out overnight. That's funny. And we can laugh at it. And no, it's not okay just because he happens to be Mexican American. Anyone should be able to tell that joke. Deal with it. Smoke on your pipe and put that in. Now, as you know, this election is about a lot. There's a lot at stake, especially with the economy. And sadly, regardless of who is sitting in the White House come January 2025, in many respects, the fuse on this economy has already been lit. 4 years of a conservative presidency is not going to be enough to turn the tide on $35 trillion in national debt. And if the left wins, forget about it. It's throwing gas on a dumpster fire. You don't have much control over the election's outcome, but you can diversify your savings right now by investing in gold from Birch Gold. For millennia, gold has stood firm in the face of greedy governments, economic upheavals, and global strife, and it can help protect you right now in the world we're living in. Birch Gold is going to help you convert an IRA or 401k into an IRA in physical gold, and it doesn't cost you a penny out of pocket. In the past 4 years, the buying power of the U.S. dollar has declined, while the price of gold has increased by 40%. Coincidence? You know it's not a coincidence. Text Larry to 989898. Do that right now. Get a free info kit on gold, and then trust Birch Gold, as I do, to protect your savings. Text Larry to 989898. Do it today.